flame danced against the Philadelphia night, casting restless shadows across the parchment, where Thomas Jefferson sat hunched over his desk. June 1776. The Continental Congress had charged him with an impossible task: capture the essence of revolution in words that would echo through eternity. His quill trembled above the inkwell.
We hold these truths to be self-evident.
The phrase had come to him like lightning, but now doubt crept in like fog through the window cracks. Outside, he could hear the distant murmur of tavern conversations, the clip-clop of horses, the ordinary sounds of a world on the precipice of extraordinary change. Jefferson set down his quill and walked to the window. The cobblestones below gleamed wet from an evening shower, and he thought of Monticello, his beloved mountaintop sanctuary, where ideas flowed as freely as Virginia wine. Here, in this cramped room, surrounded by the weight of history's expectations, every word felt like a stone he must choose carefully, lest the entire foundation crumble.
That all men are created equal.
The irony struck him like a physical blow. In his mind's eye, he saw the faces at Monticello, not the rolling green fields or the elegant architecture, but the faces of those who tended his land, who would never taste the freedom he was trying to birth with these words. Sally's younger brother, James, who served his meals. Old Caesar, who had taught him to ride. The contradiction sat in his chest like a burning coal. He returned to his desk, staring at the half-finished sentence. John Adams would be expecting a draft soon. The Congress was growing impatient. History was holding its breath. But what was history without honesty? What was revolution without acknowledging all who deserved revolution? Jefferson dipped his quill again. This time, he continued with decisive strokes. If he couldn't resolve the contradictions of his time, perhaps he could at least plant seeds for future generations to harvest. Perhaps these words,
that all men are created equal,
would grow beyond even his own limitations, becoming a promise that future Americans would be compelled to fulfill more completely than his generation could manage. He wrote furiously now, pouring onto the page his vision of a nation where power flowed from the consent of the governed, where tyrants would be cast off like worn-out clothes, where life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness weren't privileges, but birthrights. The words came not as perfection, but as aspiration, a North Star toward which an imperfect people might navigate. When he finally set down his quill, near dawn, Jefferson understood something that would haunt and inspire him for the rest of his days. He had not written a description of America as it was, but as it might someday become. He had given birth to an idea that would grow larger than any one man's contradictions, more powerful than any one generation's failures. The Declaration would be criticized, revised, debated. Some would call him a hypocrite. Others would call him a visionary. Both would be right. But in that quiet Philadelphia room, as the first light of independence crept across the parchment, Thomas Jefferson had learned the most profound lesson of his life. Sometimes the most revolutionary act is to speak a truth you haven't yet learned how to live, trusting that the words themselves will teach future generations what you could not master in your own time. The candle flickered out, but the words remained, ready to light fires of change for centuries to come.